Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Marty Richards with Richland Center Tourism with you here on a Why Do We Call It That Wednesday. So for tonight's episode, I find myself here in Ash Creek. So Ash Creek, the name itself, really not exciting at all. It had to do with when the early settlers came, there were just a ton of ash trees. So ash trees were used quite a bit, and also in the last few years, we've really struggled with the ash borer. So if you drive down Ash Creek, there's Ash Creek Road, you won't see a lot of ash trees. However, we're here towards the beginning of Ash Creek at the Ash Creek Community Forest. So the Ash Creek Community Forest has really a very cool story behind it, and also a really cool opportunity for those of you who visit. So number one, how did Ash Creek Community Forest come to be? Well, for many of us that have kind of done some history, or we're just old enough and lived through much of it, we might remember in the 1950s in the United States, there was a lot of work done by the federal government to try to control floods throughout the United States on many of these creeks, small creeks, and you can tell where I'm from. I didn't say creek, I say crick. They were actually damming a lot of these, building dams to prevent flooding, or so they thought. Well, this was one of those locations. The Pine River also had a program where the federal government was going to buy a lot of land and also dam that up. Actually, part of that program was the original Mill Creek Pond Dam that has now been removed on the Pine. Also, relating back to this was the Kickapoo Valley Reserve area that many of us in the area are familiar with, that back in the 70s they attempted to dam that, even started construction of the dam. It was ultimately halted after the dam had been partially built, and then they tore it down, and now you have the Kickapoo Valley Reserve that exists. Well, the Ash Creek Community Forest has that same start of a story. So what happened was, in the late 60s, the federal government came in, had bought 3 different farms up behind me. We have 354 acres here of land to enjoy. Well, that was going to be a lake, and it was going to help control the flooding on Ash Creek. Well, ultimately, as time went on, we got into the 70s, we had the issue with the Kickapoo River and that dam. It basically put an end to that program. They also learned maybe that isn't the best way to control the flooding, and it changed ecosystems quite a bit. So the federal government gifted the land to the Richland County Conservation Department, and they now manage this as a park for everyone to enjoy. There's no charge to get in. It literally has everything that you'd be looking for. It has fishing, you can go hiking, walking, mountain biking. You can even ride horses here. You do have to bring your own horse, and my videographer isn't going to pan that way right now, but right behind her is a truck and trailer. Somebody's out here riding a horse right now. But again, 354 acres to enjoy for the community and visitors to come see. I've had visitors that stay in our suite that we rent out, and they all have come here. A couple of them even said, wow, that's pretty cool place. The hiking trails are marked, and so they've really enjoyed this land, the hiking trails, and all that it has to offer. So when you come to join us and visit us here, this is an excellent place if you're looking to get away from people and just enjoy nature and our geography and geology of the area. I would encourage you to come to the Ash Creek Community Forest. Again, that's our episode tonight of Why Do We Call It That? Thank you for joining us. I'm Marty Richards with Richland Center Tourism. Have a great evening.